Okay, welcome everyone to this PTAC outreach webinar. I believe this is the first outreach we've done via Zoom. So thank you, PME Construction, for being our guinea pigs for this. I am Kathy Kokas. I'm with Kitsap Economic Development Alliance as their Business Development Director, and I oversee the Washington PTAC program for the Olympic Peninsula and Kitsap Peninsula. And for those who may not know, PTAC stands for Procurement Technical Assistance Center. I'm going to ask Jim Niles to introduce himself in a moment. Scott and Randy will introduce themselves, and then before we go through the presentation, I'm going to give everyone on the Zoom a chance to introduce yourselves. Be prepared. I want the elevator speech that if you've been to any of my contracting coffee hours that Mona would approve. Mona approved elevator speeches. If you don't know what that means, it's concise, short, and to the point about what your company could do for PME construction. So, Jim, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Kathy. Good afternoon. I'm Jim Niles. I'm the NAVFAC Northwest Small Business Deputy. For those of you that don't know what NAVFAC is, we're an engineering command. We're located in Silverdale, Washington, on Bangor Sub Base. We procure construction, facility services, environmental, and architect and engineering services. So I'd like to say thank you to Kathy and Scott and Randy for helping coordinate this and putting it together. There's always some challenges with the virtual environment, and we're really adapting these days now with COVID-19. This may be the way of the future, so I'm glad that we all have the opportunity to be able to use Zoom. Thank you, Kathy, for that. And engage with small businesses and have this opportunity. So a little bit of why we're here. We're really here for you all, the small businesses, to be able to talk to a NAVFAC Northwest general prime contractor, to engage them, ask them questions, and learn about subcontracting opportunities. PME is a local business and located in Paulsville, Washington, and this is just really a great opportunity to talk to PME. The JOC contract, it stands for Job Order Contract. It is one of our mainstay contracts at NAVFAC Northwest. Basically, it's a small dollar repair construction contract. Now, I use the word small dollars loosely because that could be anywhere from a project up to $1 million. So for some folks, you know, that's a substantial dollar amount. But that's generally how large the projects are on this contract. Now, I went back into my archives just to take a look at how long we've been procuring this JOC. This is a really important contract for NAVFAC Northwest. So when I went into the archives, the oldest JOC that I can find is a 96D0119 contract. So that contract was awarded 16 January 1997. So we've been awarding these contracts for a long time. Some of the details on this contract, it was a $250K contract, $250,000 with about $50,000 a year, a base plus 4-year contract. So small dollars back in the 90s, about $50K a year. And then you move forward 22 years later to our current JOC contract, which is 19D0008. That was awarded last year, this month, in fact, 27 September 19. And that's a base plus 4-year contract at $99 million. So we've went from $250K to $99 million in 22 years. So we've grown this contract over the years. I foresee it continuing to grow, and I think we're going to continue awarding this contract. So hopefully 22 years from now, we'll still have the same JOC going and the same small businesses being awarded on this contract. So sit back and enjoy the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, Scott?
All right, absolutely. Well, thank you. And with that said, first I'd like to thank PTAC. Certainly has been a resource that we've leaned on heavily through our journey as a small business, and we'll talk a little bit more about our growth here in a second. But certainly, if you haven't reached out to PTAC before, I highly encourage you to do so. They've been a great resource for us and a ton of help, and a lot of smart people there at the PTAC office. And then also thank our small business liaison, Jim Niles. Certainly, you know, when you're doing business with any sector, it's always good to have partnerships and positive partnerships, and you certainly can't do it alone. So thank you both PTAC and Jim for your involvement. My name is Scott George. I'm the CEO of Port Madison Enterprise Construction. I'm a Suquamish tribal member. Port Madison Enterprise Construction is a tribally owned general contractor specializing in civil construction. We're locally based. We pride ourselves on being local, on knowing the market, and especially knowing our client. We are a small business, so I think this is something that certainly get a lot of excitement talking about, because we're still small business. We were established in 2008 and have grown again through partnerships, and you know, talk a little bit about our strategy in more of the subcontracting network, have grown to a sizable, decent sized general contractor. And so certainly, hopefully some of this, what we talk about today, helps you, those individuals on this call. With that being said, I'll let Randy introduce himself and then we'll get going.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining. Once again, Jim and Kathy, always a pleasure to do these with you. Division manager of PMECC. I've done a lot of contracting out here, whether it's JOC or MAC, for probably 15 to 18 years now, out here for the Navy. Enjoy working in this area, and very much enjoy these type of contracts as well too. Very fast paced. Just like Jim said, the range, we have a contract for $3,500 on the JOC, and we have one for 1.4 million. So that gives you the range of what we do back and forth. So like I said, doesn't matter what it is, whatever the Navy needs, we're going to take care of those needs. So go ahead, Scott.
All right, so I'm going to work through some slides, just confirming that everyone can see the slides powering through the agenda right now.
Scott, did you want them to introduce themselves now or later?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if we could, let's just go ahead and a couple minutes having the participants introduce themselves. That'd be great.
Okay, I'm just going to call on them. So Barbara, let's start with you.
Thank you, and good morning. Maybe it's afternoon now, I guess. I work with Sleepless Software. We don't have anything to do with construction other than we build small tools, software tools, and construction companies can use those too. So I'm just using this as a networking tool, seeing what you do, seeing if there's anybody out there that can use the things that we do.
Okay. Eric?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. So I'm Eric Mon with Net Compliance Environmental Services. Appreciate you guys putting this on today. And we're a former 8A graduate. We self-perform asbestos abatement, demolition, mainly TI type of demo. We're not tearing down large structures. We're currently still Hub Zone certified, and we've been in business for almost 20 years now. And our big thing is our EMR is at 0.60. So it's been that way for 5 years.
Okay. Michael?
Looks like his mic is muted.
Okay. Michael, oh, there you go.
Yeah, I needed to click on the unmute button. Sorry about that. Yeah, my name is Mike Eggy. Recently retired from Puget Sound Naval Shipyard. I have a small consulting business. I represent two businesses that have industrial and commercial background. One's a large business called Layer Scaffolding. They're a fantastic scaffolding system. Just curious if PME might have any use for have any scaffold needs. And then the other one's a small business called TARP Innovators. It's actually just down the road in Paulsbo, Washington. They do industrial fabrics like drip pans, large liners, fuel bladders, reusable containments, that kind of thing.
Okay. Thanks. Let's see, Samuel.
Yeah, hi, this is Sam Ross, owner of BC Construction. We are a small finished carpentry service disabled business. I guess I'm a very small business compared to PME because you guys are a small business. So we are in our second year where we actually just finished our first $200,000 subcontract with Lake Washington School District. And I love Poulsbo. I go there all the time, but we are locally based out of Renton. And we are also a safety auditing and compliance company. As you know, construction, small business construction, ties directly together with the OSHA compliance and the trainings. So that's what we do. And we hope to work with you guys. And thank you for having this. And I appreciate it.
Next one.
And then the last two folks are folks that if you don't know them, you should get to know them because they are the people that make this PTAC office work. Terry. Terry.
Are you able to hear me now?
We can hear you now, Terry.
Hi there.
Hi.
Enjoyed working with Scott George and Randy Blanks over the years. Helped PME get their current jock contract. I don't remember just how I was involved prior to award, and worked with Randy Blanks for a number of years in my last 4.5 years with NAFAC Northwest in the Public Works Department, and administered the task orders on the jock contract. So very familiar with jock, and 29 years of Navy procurement experience. So if anybody needs help, I can help you. I'll leave it with that.
Thanks, Terry. Mary Jo.
Yeah.
Mary Jo.
We can hear you, Mary.
She's still on mute.
Yeah, Mary Jo, you have to unmute. There we go.
There. Oh my goodness, that little button wasn't there a minute ago.
Kathy was hiding it from you.
I think she was. And I also, like Terry, I'm retired from the federal government, however, have been working with the PTAC for probably over 10 years now. Totally enjoy and love what I'm doing and meeting with all of you. Thank you.
And Dino, you just joined. I'm going to allow you to talk. And we are just doing our quick elevator speech. Identify yourself, your company, and how you can help PME construction.
Yeah, my name is Dino Perlatti, and I've been doing work in the Northwest for a lot of military contractors. This seemed like a really good opportunity for my company, TARP Innovators, that I represent. And I just thought, I need to log in and listen and try to learn something. That's quite frankly how I feel about it.
Dino, what services do you provide?
Pardon me?
What types of services or products do you provide?
Well, we're across the board. We're really broad spectrum wise, but primarily what you'll see us do is spill containment, secondary and primary containment, but also we do a lot of weather protection and containments that go in conjunction with scaffolds and industrial job sites all over. And quite frankly, we bid on them all over the country, but we really are looking to own our own backyard, be part of the Northwest, if you will.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, that's everybody.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and get started. And yeah, Terry, just to jog your memory, we're builders, so we're really good at building stuff. Not the best, I'd say, at the technical writing component. So it's always good to have somebody to take a look at our proposal. So Terry, your involvement, I believe we sent that to you just for a second set of eyes, make sure we're checking boxes off. So certainly appreciate your help on the JOC. The JOC's been a great contract for us. We're off to a fantastic start, and we look forward to an option year 2. I guess our second year on the JOC and the work that it provides. And just hearing a little bit about the participants and everybody that's on the call today, it sounds like we've got a good mix, and I'd be very surprised if we couldn't find some opportunity on the JOC contract, because the work is so diverse. There's a lot of opportunities. You know, as a growing business for the software developer, you know, we're always looking for technology and platforms that we can use to improve our systems. We've just gone through 2 upgrades, and we're currently still looking at software programs. So certainly a good platform and discussion today with all the participants that we have here today. So a little bit, again, if you just jumped on about Port Madison Enterprises Construction, we're tribally owned, we're local, we're a general contractor that specializes in self-performing civil construction infrastructure work. And so the other contract that we have with NAFAC Northwest is a paving IDIQ contract, which just has 1 year left on that one. And we're a small business. And so, you know, obviously it pertains a lot with the NAICS codes that you're in. So there are different levels of small business, but we're still growing. You know, we're going through this growth phase right now. Our strategy 5 years ago, 6 years ago was, let's set out to be a very good, if not the best subcontractor that we can be to other primes. And so we did that. We started reaching out to prime contractors, similar to what you're doing here today, and really just started to build our experience, because we knew if we built our experience with our field staff and our office staff, it would lead to other opportunities, which it did. And so we're thankful that we were in a position to win and be awarded this JOC contract. And so what we're going to talk about today is, if you certainly have any other questions about our company, feel free to ask. But the whole purpose of this conversation is for us to tell you a little bit about the opportunities that we have on the job order contract. And so we're going to talk about the JOC. We're going to talk about what it is. We're going to talk about the types of work that are on the JOC contract and the locations of the projects, which for the most part are going to be local here at NAFAC and Bangor, NAFAC Northwest, but here locally at Navy Base Kitsap. We'll talk about getting on board and getting into our subcontractor pool. We'll talk about the opportunities that we've seen thus far and historically. And then we'll talk a little bit about subcontracting with our company and what that means, the types of projects, some of the nuts and bolts with the contracting forms and master subcontract agreements and work orders. And then hopefully at the end of this, we've got some time for some Q&A. So with that said, again, thank you everybody for your participation. Thank you for all the support staff that we have here today. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Randy Blank to tell you a little bit about the JOC contract itself.
Okay, so the JOC contract is a category 3-4 contract, which is maintenance and repair, which means it could be anything. Anything from HVAC to electrical to TI improvements to bulkheads and pools, bleachers, anything you could possibly imagine, we've done it. And it's a very nice tool for the government to use, or as they would say, a good vehicle for them to use, to be able to pass out this work on a multiple award, just keep passing them out to do all the work that's needed. A lot of work on the JOC, all different bases like you talked about, but anything you can possibly imagine, even railroad work, everything is on the JOC. Nothing's missed out. As Scott shows there, that's very obviously, that's all the main stuff. Talk about scaffolding for the other gentleman that showed up here. Yes, we actually have 3 projects right now that we're using scaffolding on, that we're renting scaffolding. We would love to have you come in and talk with us. We always need more subcontractors, electrical, mechanical, painters, pipe fitters. Every trade, we need help in every single one, because what we've learned through the years is the more subcontractors that we can bring in, it keeps the level down for what we need to do work by spreading it out. It keeps the competition out there. The more that we bring in that are new and fresh, it helps bring everything down. I've learned that through the years. So yeah, very much enjoy that part of it. Skip one. Okay, subcontractor pre-qualification questionnaire. So we have a questionnaire that is filled out that we can send to you. Oh, skipped it.
Let me unmute myself there.
There you go.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Randy. Locations.
Okay. So the work locations, obviously there you go, MBK, Indian Island, Zlatch Point, Fuel Depot, Everett, Woodby Island. We also do work at the Naval Hospital as well. And there's other states that involve as well too that you can see there, which is Alaska, Iowa, Minnesota, Montana, Nebraska, and the other ones. Haven't done too much work in those other states, but it's always an option that it can be awarded at any time or an RFP for any one of those projects, as it is part of our contract. Majority of our work usually happens between Naval Base, Kitsap, Keyport, Indian Island. That's a lot of the work is in those major areas. Bremerton this year has really kicked in a lot in the very beginning. They've had a lot of work to get done and a lot more coming over there, which is nice. Everett, in the years past, we probably maybe do 7-8 projects in a 5 years period out there. It's a newer base, not a lot of work's getting done. Woodby, they've actually kicked in. We've got a few projects getting ready to get awarded up there too. Beautiful area up there, by the way. So, yep. Subcontractor pre-qualification questionnaire. This is a questionnaire that we will send out to you once we have discussions with you and send this out and ask some general questions about your company. We get that information, and this is our way of vetting you through the process. Once we have vetted you through the process, then we will send out, which is our master subcontract agreement. This master agreement is one that we have gone through, 60, 70 so far subcontractors that we've sent it out to. So what's in there is defined as what we've already gone through. And in the very beginning, obviously you're working through it and say, hey, okay, we don't need this, but we do need this. That's one thing that we've weeded out. So everything that's in there is something that we feel that is very important for us to keep in that contract as is. Once we get the master subcontractor turned back around and get all that back out to you, then everything after that, once we get task order awards, we just send you a work order, which is a very short 2-page kind of agreement along with the award status for your contract, which makes it a much faster process. Just a signature on your side, signature on ours, we tie you to the contract. It's a much faster process than running it through the entire time.
Yeah, and that's something that we can send out and get a head start on. We're looking at, types of projects. Obviously, Randy and our JOC department is making sure that we've got, a good subcontractor pool. Make sure that there's not, if we go out and reach out and it's a priority 5 job, that we're not scrambling to try to find somebody, that we have people on board ready to go. These are fast turnover projects, and so let us know. We can certainly send the pre-qualification form. We're really interested in working with small businesses here locally, and then let's start working on some MSA so that we can get all that stuff done, and then we're ready to move forward in the event we get the task orders.
So Randy, just to interject, would you say in terms of quantity that you all are working anywhere between 50 to 100 projects at any given time?
Yes.
Yes.
So far we have 86 RFPs. We got 53 awards to date. And that's a light year in the JOC world. Usually it's, up to around 200 RFPs and, 150, 160 awards is more in the standard. We know with COVID slowed down a little bit, not only with funding, but be able to people to work remotely, have enough of the access to the programs to use. So things did slow down a little bit. But we know that next year and the year after that is usually the biggest years on the JOC is year 2, year 3.
Yep. Thank you.
The invitation to bid, once we receive an RFP from the government, we go through our process of taking a look at the scopes of work that are needed. And at that point, then we invite our subcontractors. We get a job walk date. We take care of giving you information so you can get badging to get on site to go look at the RFP. At that point, we have a sheet, which is this proposal details, a standard sheet that we send out that we're asking you for your labor, equipment, material. And we need a very good breakout of everything that we do, because we have to be able to explain everything on our end as well to the federal government at all times. This is the standard form for that we've created. Gives us all the information we need. When we do these things, feel free to work with us. We'll talk with you on how to do it. We need everything broken down. If you have pipe, we want to know the pipe. We want to know the fittings. It's everything. If it's scaffolding, your braces, your planks, it's all about a breakout as much as possible. as detailed as possible. So at any given time, if we have to present all this information to the government, if it's not through our speeds, we have a full detail of everything that's needed to make their job easier to do it on their end for the contracting officers, contracting specialists.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that, we've got up here, pre-project inquiries, so the PPIs and what that means. And, when we're looking at subcontracting, we're looking at building our subcontractor base. We certainly want involvement. We want participation. And then over the course of, year, 2 years, we start to get to know each other subcontracting and start building that working relationship. We really need to be able to lean on each other with our partners. And so it's extremely important that, you go to the job walks, you attend the job walks, somebody from your company, but then also ask the questions. And certainly, on our end, being able to look through those and respond without having to send those questions on to the government is preferable if we can do that. But certainly there is a process of making sure that we're detailed. And that's the thing that I think, we want to make sure that we're all set up to do. We can certainly talk about the proposal detail. Randy can go over the form with you and what he's looking for there. We just want to make sure that we're getting, subcontractor involvement and participation with individuals who understand the requirements of this type of contract. Certainly it's fast moving, but it's got to be detailed. So, certainly we got to work together on that front.
It is, and to go ahead and tag on to Scott's comment. So we work as a team with the government. We are the professionals to help line out, catch anything in the statement of work, to be able to have it written correctly to match everything that's needed. So when it comes to award, there is no questions. There is no change in condition. It's straight up, here we go to work, get things done, close out the contract and move on to the next.
I completely agree. There's a collaborative effort there to have a discussion and work through the scope of work to make sure that everyone understands the requirements. So when the contract gets awarded, you all can just get to work.
Yes.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's something that we could have figured out before the project started. So that's where we're really asking for our subcontractors to step up, show up, be detailed, ask questions, and let's figure this out before we submit that proposal.
Once we get an award from the government, the first thing we do is we look through and we vet to see who is the subcontractor that we're going to use, or subcontractors. At that point, we're going to send out a letter of intent. That letter of intent is letting you know that here's what the price is that we agree to pay you. There will be a work order that's coming further, but at that point, we want to get submittals in immediately for all your products. We want all your safety information. One of the biggest requires for safety out here is we require all of our subcontractors, just as well as all of our staff, that everybody is OSHA 30 trained. That's a common thing. It has to be done. Everything we work out here is through the EM 385. And there is no exceptions to that. So the OSHA 30 course is very important, that your staff will have to have that training in order to work on a federal government site for PMECC. Communication and expectations with new subcontractors, we bring them in and I have a discussion with them. And that's one of the main things I go over is the expectations of how we're going to communicate, how we're going to get our submittals, what kind of turnaround we need. Like we said before, everything is very fast paced. We don't have time to wait for things. When we send out a letter of intent, there's going to be a full list of everything that we require. Once you get that, there should be no questions. I understand in the beginning it's new. We'll help you work you through that process to help you streamline that process, because we always do that. AHAs are very important. It's a different form that's used out here. Most people don't understand some of that. We will sit down, sit you down with our safety, our quality control people. They'll walk you through the process in the very beginning to help you learn that process. So then, we teach you so we don't have to keep helping you down the road. We're always there to help, but we want to train you so you understand the process. Not only if you do jock work, but if you want to go out and do other work for the federal government, we want to prepare you to work for those other general contractors out there as well. It's just all part of helping you.
And we've had that. So we had an in-person before COVID-19 outreach event, and we had a great turnout, and we had probably a good handful of participants that haven't done much federal government contracting. And so they were unfamiliar with, reporting requirements or badging requirements or needing escort services. So again, just to kind of reiterate what Randy's saying there is certainly we see the importance of having people on your side. So if it's a matter of logistics, obviously we're not going to continue to do it for you, but we're more willing and certainly willing to help step up and walk you some of those nuances. So yeah, appreciate that.
Work order, we talked about project performance. We sit down with you in the very beginning, we go over the schedule. We have you agree with the schedule as a subcontractor, because like I said, we're all working together. It's what the client wants. It's what we have to take care of to make sure all the schedules match. Lead time for material, that's something we work out when you're doing the proposal. We always ask for that so we can put that into our information in the beginning. Project closeout, this is a very big pet peeve of mine. Sometimes you find certain people that just, they get done with the project, but they don't do the project closeout. They don't know any manuals or things to get into us. We can't get paid, nor can you get paid for a final project until we have that information in. So we need that stuff immediately. It's something you should be working out from the very beginning of the project, already planning that part as we go along. So it's not something that's, at the end, oh, I kind of forgot. That's another process that we will always help you learn that process in the very beginning. So it's a very easy process going forward. Lessons learned. Scott, I'll let you go ahead and take that one.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think there's one critical component to any time you're trying to build repeat business. And that is learning from some of your mistakes and learning from things or networking and communicating the things that we can do better. I mean, obviously we've seen through COVID-19 the necessary ability to be able to adapt to a changed environment. And if you're not, you're falling behind. And I think that's extremely important for us to remember, because we want to keep growing after this job contract. We're a local contractor. We want to be here for a long time and not just in and out and then move on. We've got the responsibility to continue to grow our firm, grow our company, as I'm sure everyone on this call does. And so, what we mean by lessons learned is, if there's issues with our team, bring it up. If there's things that didn't go right with you on the job, bring it up. If there's things that we look back in hindsight that we could have looked at it done differently, then we're going to bring that up. And I think through open communication and dialogue on that front and working with partners, it's extremely important for us to continue to evolve. And so when we're talking about lessons learned, feel free to reach out to Randy, call the project manager, call the superintendent, open up that door of communication so that we can find out and then we can let you know. I mean, luckily and fortunately, we get some response back from our government point of contact through a CPAR ratings. But what do you have as a small subcontractor that lets you know how you're doing? Obviously, I think when things are going well, we'll let you know. When things aren't going well, we'll let you know. But as a small subcontractor, expect to get that from us and expect to ask those questions and for someone to be responsive on things that we can do better moving forward. So that's that. I think that is pretty much wraps up what we had as far as presentation. Certainly willing to talk about, project specific, but I think the big takeaway for us in our company with the job contract specifically is that there's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of small opportunities. We get asked to do, some kind of, say random, I mean, they're all very important projects, but stuff that at, the beginning of this, I'm like, well, interesting. I didn't really know that going to retrieve a tank out in the middle of the ocean would be part of a task order that we would receive. And it is really just a lot of small projects, as Jim was talking about earlier, but it's rapid response. So we have to be that contractor that's willing to say, yes, we can figure out how to get it done and lean on our subcontractors to get these projects done, because we've got another one right in front of us and we've got another RFP right in front of us. And that's the expectations from the government. It's mission critical. It's vitally important that we're moving at a rapid pace. It's extremely important for us to work together as partners in that. And so, I know we can find something. Obviously, we're always looking through our ARS means pricing to provide the best value for our customer and our client. But certainly some opportunities out there. So I'd like to, at this point, turn this over to Kathy if she wants to jump back in, or to our participants and ask a question specifically to the JOC or our company. Please feel free to do so.
Okay, so attendees, if you have questions or you're curious how your company could really get more involved, if you have everything they've talked about and all you need is to fill out their questionnaire, this is your opportunity. I'm just gonna ask you all to unmute so that you can be ready to ask those questions.
So if I may, Sam, you brought up a small business and the size standard. So just a little background on that is, for small business in construction, the size standard is now $39.5 million. So if you're a small business and you have 3 years of annual receipts under $39 million, then the SBA and the DOD consider you a small business. That gets changed. SBA updates that from time to time, but the recent change, I believe, was a year ago when it went from 36 to 39 million.
Mm-hmm.
Quick question. This is Eric with Net Compliance. One of the things on our end, we've done quite a bit of work out at JBLM. We've done a little bit of work up at Whidbey. In my past, I did a fair bit of work at JBLM or at PSNS and Bangor. But back then they used RapidGate. My understanding is RapidGate's no more. And so is there a way for like myself and one of my estimators to get access, so every single time we're not running over trying to get through temporary badging, et cetera? I'm not afraid of any background checks or any of that kind of stuff. So like I said, we had base access in the past, but I know that's changed some. It would make it a lot easier to come walk projects and do that. And that may be a discussion for security or somebody else. I'm just trying to figure out how to make that a smoother process.
I can take this
Randy,
one.
are you having any? Yeah, okay, go ahead, Randy.
Yeah, that's a standard issue out here. So they moved over to what's called a D-bid system. It is a faster system. It does work a lot better. But for us, we can only get you a badge. Like, we can get you a badge to walk onto the jobs. But until you have a contract out here, we can't get you a badge to do anything else other than those areas. That's just a restriction with our contract. And that's always going to be an issue with that. Hopefully one day we'll be able to badge a bunch of people, but as you can understand, these being, government sites, they want to limit the access in there. If you don't actually have any work, they don't want to give out badges to people that don't actually have work in those areas.
Yeah, no, I absolutely understand. That's what I figured the answer was going to be still. So I'll just.
It is a fast system, though. We have a very good system of helping you out, of getting you in and getting your badging for those days. Yes, there is a little bit of time you're going to have to wait in the badging office. That's a standard deal, but we try to make it as easy as possible to give you enough time and have the job walks at a certain time, or be able to pick up your badge the day before or something like that to do it. So
okay,
we will work with you in every way.
Okay.
I think there's been some changes recently with COVID-19 where the government's looking at maybe some virtual site visits. I don't know if, Scott, if you've encountered any of those on the JOC yet, but I've heard some discussions where maybe in the future that's where we're going to be going.
Haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah, I've been in some discussions regarding that, with Joel and kind of, not necessarily even leading it up, but just kind of giving some feedback on some of what the impacts have been or what some of the challenges have been for us. And I think, NAFAC Northwest does a good job. They've had to modify, a little bit regarding the number of people or breaking up the job walks to allow 2 or 3 different walks for one job. But certainly being able to do that virtually, as we're starting to see right now, it actually works pretty well. And so, obviously there's security reasons that we can't do that at every location, but hopefully something that progresses in the near future for sure.
There are a couple of questions in the chat. Randy answered one of them. Barbara asked if there's an IT department that perhaps she could chat with.
Yeah, you're looking the government side or PMECC. I'm assuming PMECC.
Right. Yes, correct. PMECC. I am.
But the government buys everything, so just about everything.
Right. No, but I want PMECC, please.
Yeah.
If you have an IT department.
So you're looking at them. No, we actually do have an IT department.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would be, if you have our contact. If not, I could probably get our contact list from today's meeting and reach out to you.
Okay.
Certainly more than happy. We've got a full-scale ID department that assists us. That's located just down the street from us. That's associated with our company for sure.
Okay. So you hire that out.
You don't hire it out. So we're part of, we're a subsidiary of Port Madison Enterprises.
Okay.
It's the economic arm of the tribe. And so we're a subsidiary of PME. And so we share HR resources and IT resources with PME. So they've got an IT department of, I think, 15 to 20 IT techs down there. And so, but we do a good majority of, software research integration within our own office. Certainly, and I can tell you a little bit, we just switched from a Sage product, Mass 500, to a Sage, the old Timberline construction real estate. We're implementing new software down at our retail yard. I'm getting ready to hit the order button for some project quantity takeoff software. So it is something that we routinely buy, and we're in this period right now of this growth phase. The first 10 years is survival mode, certainly growing operation, but now it's time for us to continue to look at updating our systems. So certainly relevant to our growth right now. So yeah, I'd be interested in talking with you.
Absolutely. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I'll get a hold of you through Kathy, maybe?
Yeah, I can get you his contact info, or I'm going to send him the list of folks who attend as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Other questions, comments?
I just had a general business question. So I'm not trying to brown nose or everything, but I'm trying to follow the big boss footsteps here. This is Sam Ross with BC Construction. Second year, just finished my first $200,000 small job contract here at Lake Washington School District. What are some of the tips and tricks that you would say here as you grow as a small business, like you said, a subcontractor, that you recommend for us small guys, to have and just kind of think about as we push forward here in small business growth and all that?
Sure. Yeah, I can give you the 2-minute version of that. I'd say first and foremost, have a plan. Sit down and spend the time. We're currently in the process of putting together our annual plans and our budgets right now, and we'll spend the next 2 months strategizing and talking about the next year, the next 2 years, the next 5, and the next 10 years. We're looking right now, we're in year 1 of the job contract, but we're looking for the next contract 5 years from now. And so I would say first and foremost, sit down, put that big vision together about what you'd like your organization to look like a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road. And then as a contractor, if you're specifically looking to kind of grow within the federal market, obviously you want to be diversified, but certainly it's a good market if you can understand it and build your experience and your capabilities. I would say reach out to not just us, reach out to all the prime contractors, reach out to all the primes, look at opportunities and start learning what the processes are. Because the way you contract with us and a lot of the requirements with the FAR regulations are going to be similar on just about every job you do for DOD and NAVFAC Northwest. So in that regards, a lot of the contracting requirements, a lot of the language, a lot of the documents, a lot of your requirements as a subcontractor are going to be consistent and familiar across the board. And so that was us. We looked, 5-6 years ago, our strategy is to be the best subcontractor we can locally. Start doing work. At the time, we were working with Rohr and Chugash and some of the larger general contractors here locally, and start building relationships. And so, I always look back, and there is this growth cycle of, the first 5 years of being survival mode. And it is true, first 5 years, and we're certainly in that position right now where you're just looking to build revenue. First and foremost, you need contracts, you need revenue coming in, and you'll figure out a lot of the other things down the road as far as like process development. And so for us, it was just about, getting work, building revenue, improving on our systems. Right now, that won't go away, but right now we're certainly in this process of evolving from an internal process development phase. And so, 2 weeks ago, we went down and analyzed one of our processes here internally so that we can start making some changes. So I think to answer your question is look for opportunities. Certainly this jock, and we're willing to, and we'll make sure that if you get in touch with Randy, is let's get you out there on some job walks. Let's walk you through the process of some of the jobs that we're looking at right now, and let's start getting the ball rolling on some of this, but then reach out to other primes, reach out to all of them.
Yeah, Scott, if I can build upon that, also Sam, is look for the help. Kathy at PTAC, me as a small business deputy, there's folks out there that are in positions that can help small businesses. So you'll want to know who your team is on the government, private sector, nonprofit organizations. There's a team out there looking to help small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I know I reached out to Terry. He's cracking the whip on me to reach back, so I'm gonna appreciate the PTAC team support.
Be careful, because it'll pay off.
We're very lucky. We have a strong PTAC here. There's a lot of former contracting officers, NAFAC representation, so there's a lot of deep knowledge running through this PTAC. So certainly take advantage of that. Yes.
There is a question from Michael about the scaffolding, if you guys want to look at that.
Let's see. Randy, do you have access to?
Yeah, it says when it comes to scaffolding, would PME be interested in acquiring their own inventory of scaffolding, or just looking for scaffold companies to supply their own labor and scaffolding materials via rental?
Yeah, so I could take that question. We own, being that we're self-performing civil work, we own a lot of yellow iron equipment, and that's challenging in and of itself. But I would say short answer is probably not owning the inventory. We certainly a specialized trade that you need to have qualified installers. And so, leaning on our subcontractors from that standpoint is something that we're probably in the near future going to be looking at doing.
Yeah, I would agree. I prefer to have the professionals come and put that up. A lot of the areas that we use it as, especially we'll use it as a protective walkway, because we're doing work on the outside of the building. So we want a protective walkway for NAFAC and other people to walk in and out of. And we look for that to be the professionals to be taking care of those.
Okay, other questions? I will just echo that PTAC assistance is at no cost. And in the Kitsap office, you do have the expertise of both Mary Jo and Terry. If you give us enough advance notice, they are happy to read the solicitation you're considering, and then they will review your draft proposal. Be prepared to have some insights provided that may not match what your expectations were, but they've read, I don't even know how many of these. And so they know what the Navy is looking for, and when you should not say more than they ask. So I would lean heavily on that expertise. I would also follow up on Scott's recommendation to contact all the prime contractors for NAVFAC Northwest. Jim will be happy to send you that list. I can send you the list. And before you do that, please make sure that we have reviewed your capability statement. We do use a lot of red ink when we're reviewing those drafts, but it's really so that you're putting your best foot forward digitally or in print.
Yeah, I'd like to echo off that, Kathy. I was going to make a point about the capability statement. If you don't have one, you need to get one. PTAC can certainly help you with drafting capability statements, and you really want to identify your experience, where you can provide that experience and that information to both the government and these prime contractors. It's very important to have that. And then lastly, outreach. We've been doing these Meet a General Prime NAVFAC Northwest Contractor now for 3 years. This is one way we do outreach. Another way is Alliance Northwest. That's an annual event. We had it back in March. I would assume we're going to have another one next March. It may be virtually. I don't know.
Might be virtual,
depending on the COVID-19. Yeah. But you'll want to look out for that. You can go on the internet and search Alliance Northwest Small Business Outreach, and you'll be able to find the webpage. But you want to do business development. You know, you need to go to the outreaches. You need to engage with the government and the general primes to search for those opportunities. You have to turn over every rock, so to speak. So I appreciate you all attending. My email is available, and if you send me an email with your capability statement, I'll respond with the opportunities list, and looking forward to.
Yeah. Jim, do you want to put, Jim and Scott and Randy, would you mind putting your email contact in the chat?
Sure.
Okay, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do that.
And while I'm doing that, you can always go online to the Washington PTAC page and see what other classes or outreach events are available. And the one positive thing that's come out of COVID for PTAC is that now you can take advantage of classes throughout Washington State, because we're all doing virtual classes and outreach events. So maybe before Spokane had something that looked interesting, but you didn't want to drive to Spokane. Well, now you can, meet Alicia and some of the classes she has. There are 8 centers to get all together, and we all host different classes. We have different levels of expertise. So we have people that have retired from the state, from other federal agencies. So again, take advantage of PTAC. I want to thank Scott and Randy for taking time from your day to share with us what you're doing as the prime for the job contract, and to encourage small businesses that you are there to help them as others helped you. I appreciate that. Jim, thank you for always being the PTAC cheerleader and the small business cheerleader. When I talk to other PTACs from around the country, I think we are truly blessed here with the relationships we have with the small business folks with the Navy. With that, any final words, Scott, Randy, or Jim?
Randy?
Just want to say thank you for everybody for attending, and please reach out. Glad to help you.
Yes, and then one last plug for PTAC here. I did remember that it was before the jock contract we had PTAC put together. And again, this is just one of many things that they do, but we had you take a look at some market research for us and start pulling up through the database of federal government contracts to see who our competition could be on this contract. And so they went through their database and gave us a bunch of spreadsheets. It gave us a pretty good list of other 8A contractors in the area that have done work here. So before we even went into the job contract proposal writing, we had a good idea of who our competition was going to be. And again, it's another yeah, certainly if you're not using PTAC right now, do so. It paid off for us big time. So thank you. No, I think absolutely. If there's an opportunity, certainly reach out to us. We can get you in contact with the right person within our organization. I want to thank Jim and Kathy both for setting this up. Certainly something that I think we'll probably have to do more moving forward. Certainly willing to sit down and talk small businesses. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Jim?
Yeah, just in closing, thank you for all attending. Appreciate that you took some time out of your day to come and listen to us talk about the NAFAC Northwest Small Business Opportunities. And hopefully you've learned something and you take away some tips or tricks. And thank you again.
All right. Thanks, all. And have a great rest of your day. And let's hope for some rain this week.
Yeah, no kidding. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right,
Thursday.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.